Cool. Well, what's going on?
Oh, you know.
Do we have to talk about the inevitable thing in
We
the
don't
Facebook
have to right
meme
away. We were just
community tonight?
celebrating that Jason's seeing Wrestlemania next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So,
Asher was telling me about this clown hotel that I should check out.
Yeah, so there's this hotel. I guess it used to be a really bad spot. I don't remember what it used to be called, but it got bought out by another. It looks like a family, but it's like actually really nice there. But it just has like a really terrible what's the word?
reputation.
It has a terrible reputation. I woke up like an hour ago. Sorry. And, it's extremely colorful, and in the halls they play clown music. And the room we were in had some like insane mural of like palm trees on it, like neon palm trees.
It's like it's really surreal because it's clearly like an older like hotel bordering on motel kind of thing. I don't know what the technicality is. Like there's like a parking garage attached to it, but it's like a really shitty one. So it's like technically not a motel, but it has motel vibes.
So it's like Circus in Vegas.
Oh yeah, except for any class that maybe Circus has is completely not there at this place. I wish I gotta find the name of the place, but it's crazy when you get there because it's like I saw pictures of it and I was like, hey, this place is really cheap because we were going down for that like meme party thing.
Yeah.
And it was like so like the pictures just everything was super bright, like all kinds of random colors, like whatever paint color they had like on sale they just bought and then painted all these fucking rooms. But the kicker was that they actually played clown themed music in the like common areas, which blew my mind because it's like I didn't know you were actually going for that, but I guess like they are. I don't know.
That would make me insane.
Yeah,
that would be...
that's so bizarre.
It was crazy. I mean, luckily, like you couldn't hear it in your room, but like as soon as you walked out, it was like, oh man, this is too much clown shit.
They weren't like trying to prank you 24/7, were they? Like you'd walk in at the counter, they squish with water, and like someone would stand behind you and you get shoved and fall over them, and they like throw like whipped cream at you and run away. You're like, man, just take your luggage and run. You're like, oh shit, where do they go with my luggage? You know, like. I could see it being
a shuttle from the airport, but it's like a clown car. You got to get in on like 17 different clowns.
They make you drive, yeah.
It was an experience though. But I'm gonna find that hotel and I'm gonna send it to you. You probably already have a hotel booked, but if you don't, I'm gonna recommend this place.
Yeah, it was nice.
Right.
And the guy was the guy like when we were checking out, he's like, "You leave us a good review, okay?" I was like, it's a clown motel, dude. Like, it's fine. I mean, sure. I don't know. You want me to review it?
I left him a nice review. It's not purposefully themed as a clown hotel. It just feels like one. And I was just like, I love the clown hotel. It's got ice and the bed's nice and it's clean. What more do you want? 5 stars.
It was clean and cheap. What do you want? Yeah. You know? You want it to not be themed like a clown hotel? Too bad. Go somewhere else.
I would like that. I would like to not stay in a clown-themed hotel, especially unintentionally.
Some people say that it's more work to actually make it themed like a clown hotel. But they're wrong. It's actually the path of least resistance to do this.
It's called easy. Trump Plaza, right? It's
Okay, so it's called Philly Inn and Suites.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
yeah. Philly Inn and Suites.
Stay at Philly Inn and Suites.
That sounds like
it's very funny to me right now, Jason. In your new house, the way the camera lines up for you is like the kitchen where the lights are on behind you. I mean, it's maybe just because I'm on a very tiny monitor, but it looks like you have like a blonde mullet or something. It looks like your hair hanging down.
Yeah, right here.
Hat. Yeah.
Speaking of Wrestlemania, that actually might work.
I was telling these guys before you joined, Phil, that like next week, and I'm probably not going to be on the show, but like I'm going to be at Wrestlemania. I'm going to shave my head and do a goatee for Stone Cold. I got Stone Cold vest,
nice,
and all kinds of silly get up. My wife has like a matching outfit. She was like, "I'm going to shave my head too." I'm like, "No, you don't." she was all in. But yeah, we're
I'm
stoked.
impressed.
So yeah, I mean, maybe I'll jump in for like 5 minutes and you'll see some chaos behind me. I'm not sure. I doubt it, but
Probably shouldn't. Yeah, you should just enjoy yourself. Don't worry about but tell us about it next week when you're back.
cool.
But I was gonna say you need to hold up one of those signs like I always see now where it's like Final Fantasy 9 is the best or something.
Yeah,
Like,
suck 316.
there you go. Yeah. I just find the signs at wrestling events like so random these days, and I'm always surprised by how many of them I'll see in like video game groups where they're like, "Oh yeah, this."
I was playing Stellar Blade today, the demo that just came out. It was like a new game that's known by, I guess, the creators of it, where it's like you're going to be staring at this woman's backside a lot, so we designed it really well. And that was kind of like the controversy behind the game. So everyone's like, "Yeah, we're downloading the demo."
What's the game called?
Stellar Blade.
I have not heard of it. Stellar Blade. Is it like a fighting game? Like, what is it?
Nah, I would say it's kind of like Devil May Cry, maybe, or like kind of like maybe like Final Fantasy. You just roam around and chop stuff with your sword, and
hot chick with a sword and a really fucking
maybe like Nier Automata
nice
or like
this is ridiculous.
Ghost in the Shell kind of thing. Yeah, right. I know it's ridiculous.
Now that I'm looking at it, it's like third person where you are looking at the woman's ass the
like, whole time,
the whole game, and they're like, "Yep, we're gonna make this. You're gonna want to look at
the
it."
jiggle ass physics are incredible in this game.
Oh wow, I don't even see any video. I'm just looking at pictures where it's just like, yes.
I'm picturing like the guy that like designed it. And they're just like really riding about it. Her ass is not jiggling, Mark. It's not jiggling the right way, Mark. Okay, the deadline is next week.
Get the physics.
Okay. I'll work overtime.
Yeah.
I'll work overtime.
Very nice. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really hard. And it's really fun. That game is also pretty horny, I gotta say. Like,
I love your status. That should have been the status of the week was. Yeah, it's the every guy's fantasy game where you have two girlfriends and
black best friend,
yeah,
and a
black
talking dog, and some other worse things that I didn't want to put in there, like hangs out with an underage.
Oh no!
I felt like that would ruin the joke, but that's like part of the like one of your party members is like a 16-year-old girl ninja or something, and then. You also have an emo friend and like an old dude, I guess. He's supposed to be old, but he's 30. So like
that's so offensive, dude. Jesus Christ.
I know, right? I'm like, what? But that game is really fun. I'm not gonna lie. But it is also like the fan service of the horniness. Like I got to Costa del Sol, which is like the beach town in the game.
Yeah. The
and it's the classic, the frame when my parents walk in the room when I'm watching any movie, like it's like Lee's like watching me play in Costa del Sol, and that's like the one part of the game where all the characters get their bathing suits and like they like do this whole thing where they like pretty much zoom in on Tifa's like bathing suit cleavage, and you're just like, and I'm just like, yep, and I just kind of like was like, yep, it's a feature of the game. I hate to admit it, like this is literally how
this is what everyone paid for.
Yeah. But it is really fun. I mean, especially as somebody who played the original version of that game, it's really cool to be. It's like I only wish it's like imagine playing like Super Mario Brothers 3, but it's like entirely immersive. Like every world is built out into like a gigantic open world. Like it's just a cool experience.
Is it a like for like, or is it like a expanded game? Like it's a remake of the original, right?
Right.
Very expanded, yeah,
very
big time.
Okay.
Very, very expanded. I mean, it's weird because they took the original game and split it up, so it's going to be 3 parts when it's done. The first part kind of keeps you on the first disc. Like if you remember when you play PlayStation games, a big game had multiple discs. So Final Fantasy VII had 4 discs, and the first disc was pretty much all in this one city, Midgar, and it's fine, but it's like once you get off that disc and you go into the open world, which is like all, if you want to play a role-playing game, you want to like have this open world to explore in most of them, like with a world map where you can get like a vehicle in Final Fantasy VII. I think you get like a dune buggy and an airship. And that's what you're hoping for when somebody's going to make, like you say, is it 1-to-1? Like definitely not, but like that was so lacking in the first installment of this remake where it's very kind of like hallway, you know, linear, like you just kind of stay in these neighborhoods the whole time, and you're like, ugh, like let me have the full experience. And it, I think it kind of works because at the end of the day, like it is broken up kind of similarly to how it was when you played the original PlayStation version, but this one you do get to just explore, and it's really cool to see like the lore and everything of the world is like really built out, you know, like, and that just makes it really fun. I've been having a blast.
Yeah, I've only delved into Final Fantasy very recently. The only time I ever tried was Final Fantasy 9. I think I got to like the last disc, and then my memory card became corrupted, and so I just lost all progress. But so everyone's like, "Oh, the 7's the best one," or whatever. But I mean, I guess a lot of fans think 9 is the best one. I'm very partial to 9 because that's the only one I really played. But so when I played Rebirth though for the first time, like this is amazing. And it made me want to play the original after I beat it. So then I was kind of dabbling into that and seeing the differences, and that was kind of cool. And then now I'm up to this part, so I'm trying to play the original up to that part of the new game to try to catch up. You know,
nice.
So I haven't seen
have you beat the Rebirth?
Yeah, I beat Rebirth,
Oh, wow.
and I beat Crisis Core, the whatever
Reunion
remastered
or whatever
edition of that one
one's called,
with like Zack and stuff. That was cool too. I like that one a lot. So yeah, it's fun.
So I never did any of those extra, like there's a movie for Final Fantasy VII called Advent Children.
Yeah,
there's a Crisis Core, which is like a prequel. And it's kind of weird because spoiler alert for like a 20-year-old game, but like basically the twist of Final Fantasy VII is that you're this guy Cloud who thinks he's been through all this crazy shit, and at a certain point in the game you realize like, oh no, I'm lying to myself and everyone about this experience. Like I was there, but the guy who went through all this shit is named Zack. And like Zack is not really like he's barely there in the original game. You're like, you're like, oh, okay, that guy looks like Cloud, but with dark hair. And so for me, it was super weird playing this shit. And I skipped over the first installment on PlayStation 4. I just wasn't into it. Like I bought it, I played it, and I just couldn't get into it. And so I kind of forgot the story, and I started watching all these like crazy explainer videos this week about like the story behind Final Fantasy VII, but like a bunch of other games like Metroid and Final Fantasy 9 was in there, and they're just like psychotic. Like these video game story writers are just like lost in the sauce, man. Like I watched one about Metroid, and it's about how basically like, God, I'm trying to see if I can remember everything that happens. It's like Metroid happens where you go to the planet Zebes and you're supposed to destroy the Metroids, but then there's like one that escapes and then it stays there. But then there's like this like ancient society. I can't remember what they're called, but they like cultivated Metroids and shit for a long time because everybody wants to make everything into weapons. Like that's the storyline behind everything is like, oh, these things, we're going to like biologically engineer them to be weapons. And it's just like, that happens at like the Final Fantasy 9 storyline is the same way. It's like, oh well, these people all live here because we were biologically designing them to be like the greatest creatures. And then I'm just like, what? Who are these fucking people that write this shit? Like everything has like thousands of years of lore behind it. I'm just like, can you just write a story about characters where like, you know, things happen to the people? And
we got to get you. We got to get you into Warhammer 40K, Phil. That's what we need to do.
Oh God, no, I'm not ready for that.
You want to talk about
Dune
lore?
is too much for me. I can't even handle Dune. Like when I watched I watched Dune 2, you know, in theaters recently, and I was like, okay, I gotta like. It was fine. It was good, you know, but I was like, I just don't get the hype, and so I like had to just like kind of Cliff Notes, internet style, you know, Wikipedia, everything I could find of people explaining the whole story to me. And it's like, it doesn't get any better to me. I'm like, I feel like Frank Herbert or whatever kind of nailed it with that first book, like created this really cool world where a crazy story happens to this guy. Like he's got a lot of backstory and he comes back and he wins. And then like, after that, it's all kind of like just crazy bullshit. Like, and even the worm shit and the spice and everything, I'm like, no, actually, like in a small dose, it's kind of cool. But then when you try to like make the whole universe based around this one planet with these worms that shit out magic dust, I'm like, I just don't get it. Like, why is everyone obsessed with the fucking worms? Why is the worm the thing of the whole universe? Like, I just don't get it. Like, what is this?
I love
it's because
it.
they make you like immortal, Phil. That's why.
Yeah,
because their shit makes you immortal.
All powerful.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, so you're immortal and you live in
And
a world
high.
where the thing that keeps you immortal and high is fucking weird worms, like
Yeah, worm shit.
some of them get super big, but, like, the small ones give you the psychedelic
Well, they
juice,
all
so,
give you
like,
the
I'm like
psychedelic juice, but you have to farm it from them while they're drowning.
You have to jerk them off.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't it just doesn't there's a certain point at which I was like, "This no longer
And
resonates
the
with me," and then
juice
when I started reading about
it,
the rest of the books, I'm like, "Oh, so what's his name? Atreides' like second son twin becomes the god emperor and like becomes a worm, basically, right? I mean,
and I love how like weirdly complex it is, because like only women can drink the juice, and if the men drink the juice they go crazy. And then but Paul can drink the juice because he was supposed to be a girl, but his mom changed him in the womb against
right.
the orders of the supreme other ladies.
Well,
And it was the last generation that was supposed to, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I'm a
think it's
lore lover.
interesting.
I'm a lore guy.
I love
it.
lore too, man. I'm just telling you that, and when I explored this lore, it lost me. At a certain point, I was like, there's a point at which this is not interesting anymore. I've reached the terminal velocity of the spice here. Like, it doesn't work beyond, like, it was cool on the planet. It was fun that the planet was amazing. And then, like, when I have to understand the whole universe, nobody can fucking travel across the universe unless they get fucking super high on the spice. Like, I'm like, why? Like, why is that a thing?
Well, they
that
have freaks in there.
Right?
They need people that like they absorb so much, they take so much spice that they have to be then enclosed in a giant vaporized gas chamber of the spice so that they can always be maximally high.
That seems stupid to me.
It is stupid, but it's kind of cool,
sci-fi.
though. You know, you have something hot boxed in order to fly the ship.
You have to sit in a vat of pure fentanyl to be able to, for us to travel the universe.
It's not dissimilar from my friend's Honda Escape in the early 2000s. He had to be high and hotbox in that thing in order to make it run.
Well, I just think it's really funny how Dune kind of has this like, oh, it's sci-fi, but like we're not really doing the whole technology thing. Like there's no computers or they're banned or whatever, but it's like, but instead, what is our, Deus, what is it? Deus ex machina that gets us out of situation? What makes it impossible for us to travel across the entire universe? It's getting high on drugs. Like, fuck, yeah, let's do that.
Cool. I like that.
Instead of technology, we just fucking do spice.
Could you imagine if oil also got us high?
Speak for yourself. No. It gets me high as hell.
Like how destroyed Saudi Arabia would be.
Yeah, when I hear people describe like, oh yeah, it's like, it's like as if oil and cocaine were the same thing, and everyone in the universe is obsessed with it. Oh, and only one planet can farm it, except like later on when like Frank Herbert's son starts making the books and they figure out how to make it. Like, why did it take so fucking long? Like, just move the worm to another fucking planet.
They can't survive on another planet. They die on other planets.
I understand that, but that's somebody writing this story that way. Like, you could just take the worms to another planet. Like,
look, I think that I think it's more like, I kind of agree with you. Like, I definitely see where you get, like, it's not my favorite lore. I think it's cool. It's not like I don't like, oh man, this is so crazy and cool and interesting lore, but it was so formative to like that. So much of the Dune backstory is like, has been parted out into like other things. So much shit is in Star Wars and tons of other, even like Warhammer 40K, which I mentioned before, like tons of other sci-fi and even fantasy IPs have like cribbed from that straight up.
I think that's what bothers me about it, is it does feel so maybe modular is not the right word, but like you're saying, it does go into so many other franchises. It does form this like basis of storytelling for so many things that you enjoy, but like when I go back to it and I try to understand it, like it just missed for me.
Like, it's like the Beatles kind of.
The first iteration isn't always the best,
Yeah,
I guess I was hoping for something that like, like the I don't know. Like I said, I haven't read the books. I've only experienced this through the movies and TV shows, and so like maybe that's the big thing I'm missing, is that you're just not going to ever, like, they did okay with this recent one, but I feel like it's just something that doesn't come across as well in that format. But I think that was the problem for me, is once I started trying to dig into the lore without reading the books, which is again maybe a mistake. I'm just like, where does all this go? Like, there's just like very little, like, I don't know.
enough
It just feels
substance
like it's
for
like
you.
a treadmill of like, and then and then
like you're making it up as they go.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Before I
think Dune is especially bad for that because his sons picked up the books and were notoriously worse writers than him. So
yeah, it does feel that way.
I think that some people there's like a whole contingent of like Dune fans that like they just simply like they read the books because they like it, they just like in general, but they don't consider anything after like the original author's death to be canon at all. Which is I guess a good way to think about it.
Expanded universe.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's the Dune. My son's getting a paycheck off this universe.
I just like matriarchies. Yeah, I
Nice.
just like it when women can do stuff guys can't.
I was reading that he's super homophobic, he was super homophobic,
really?
Frank Herbert. Yeah, he was crazy super homophobic. Like even for the times, he was really bad.
Is it?
And
isn't that supposed to be in like the Harkonnen?
That's what like, part of like they didn't go this route kind of in the movie so much, but in the books he's like the Baron is like a gay man who's like evil gay, who's like the evilest gay man, and his gayness, his homosexuality is like a manifestation of how evil he is. Like he's like
he wrote it that way to
yeah. So I don't know. That I didn't even know that at all. I was like, oh, that's like an interesting, but I was like, oh no, it's actually not that interesting. It's like he's literally a homophobe who is documented as being one.
Wow.
It's like a Disney villain, right? Aren't all the male
Scar
Disney villains really gay?
Yes, just a little bit gay.
Yep.
Jafar.
Yep.
Well, I saw recently someone like, and I didn't research this at all, so I could be totally wrong, but like a character designer behind many of those villains was a gay guy. So, I mean, I don't know, like, that seems like counter to what that argument would be, but like,
well,
it's like he put something into it that people misinterpreted.
The gay community loves those characters, though. Like queer coding, I think it's delightful that Scar was as gay as he was.
I think it's also it has like I mean, there's like a certain level of like sophistication that they tried to inject into those characters, where it's like they're like they think they're better than everybody else, and they're like sophisticated and much like more crafty than the other ones, and that kind of comes off as like effeminate kind of, which we code as gay.
I want to just point out and clarify that I feel like that's very opposite to what Frank Herbert would try to be doing with his, writing a gay super villain, like that's basically all I was trying to say before. But
no. And he doesn't do that apparently, because I didn't read the books, but like I've read like the differences between how they portrayed him in the movie. He's like a loud, obnoxious, never shuts the fuck up character. Which is interesting because he's the total opposite in the movie. He like barely talks, is like floating around, and is like menacing in like his subtlety,
I love the backstory of him where he assaulted, what do you call them? One of the matriarchs, one of the mothers. And that's why he's so disgustingly sick. They struck him with illness.
Yep. I just gave him all the illnesses at once. And then now he can never be healed because they're like the Jesus women made him gave him like disease at a genetic level. They like gave him genetic disorders that he can't ever get rid of.
And now
he got space AIDS.
He's got space AIDS.
Yeah, he literally got space AIDS. This guy
got to sit in a hot tub full of black goop all the time.
It's disgusting.
Speaking of geniuses, did you see that one tweet with Elon Musk where he thought people with big heads are smart?
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that too.
Baby phrenology. It was like ascribing it to C-sections too. That like, oh well, because we can have so many cesareans now that people, they're smarter because their big heads come out. Like, bro, that's not how. The brain doesn't get reduced in the birth canal.
Maybe they just have like fetal alcohol syndrome, baby. Like it's not a good thing.
The thing that was crazy to me is that we cover enough Elon on this podcast, but like the sheer amount of like idiotic, just ball-faced idiotic shit that he says, right? And then
Yeah.
But so I recently saw that there was a guy. He's like a big name in AI scene. I wish I could remember his name. But he was like giving a speech. He was talking about Musk a bunch, and he was saying how he like admires him and it wasn't like about his like tweets and shit like that. It was all about how he runs a company, because this guy had like worked on, I think, a couple of companies for him, and he was saying, and it just was like it was really, really flattering to him, like, you know, like, oh, he's willing to, like, he'll actually talk to the real people doing the work, and he doesn't like go through middle management and all this shit. And it's just like, then you see him tweeting every goddamn day this shit, like, yeah, babies have big heads and now they're smart. You're like, this is the guy. This guy. Or like, here's, hey, have you guys seen this racist shit that it's happening? The immigrants are coming, or they're taking over our country. Can you believe that? It's like, this is your fucking dude, man. Christ almighty, dude.
I really wonder if there's some kind of link to, like, you know, maybe Elon Musk, or maybe this is just ascribing this to more like middle-aged white dudes who became successful through, you know, business endeavors, that it does just inevitably rot their brain in a certain way, that just like that is the outcome for you, that like if you sought success through, you know, upper level, executive level managing of businesses and capital, that like your brain is going to be destroyed in exactly this way. Like, we know for sure what's going to happen to you. You're going to be racist, divorced, bitter, and actually much stupider than you were when you were successful. Like,
yeah.
you're actually going to lose the gray matter or whatever. Because it just seems to happen. Like, I just even know people in my personal life that I'm like, this person seemed much cooler when they were young. And then they spent 20 years of their life totally 100% dedicated to building a business and retired. And now they're an asshole. And I don't want to spend any time with that person.
Yeah, there's a dangerous section, I think, for men once they reach like 40 to 50. And if they're like still like maybe single for whatever reason, whether they never got married or like are divorced, they just become like completely like weirdos. And it's like can be dangerous and happens to like a lot of men, I think. I don't know.
I always
my observation recently.
I've always referred to it as like divorced guy energy, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? But you're absolutely right that they don't have to be divorced. It just like is a kind of vibe that I always associated with, like, oh yeah, that guy got divorced in his 50s and he's like definitely a piece of shit. Like, you just can tell, you know, it's when they start getting like Punisher tattoos and like they, you know, fall down into like some pipeline or something like that. And you know, but the thing is, they don't have to necessarily be divorced. They could just like they could have just been single and never actually found anything because they were, you know, for various reasons, and then they just fall into this pipeline because they don't have any checks and balances in their life anymore, you know. That's my thing. That's what I think is going on, but I don't know.
Did y'all see? I was trying to find it, but there's two different tweets I'm going to reference. The first one is an actual tweet from Elon that was saying something like it would take 3 to 6 months to. Oh, he says, yeah, reconstitute the steel that fell from the Baltimore Bridge, and that it could be repaired in 3 to 6 months, or something like unbelievable. Like, but right along line of what you're talking about, Matt, with like most of his tweets, you're just like, wow, how is this person tweeting this? Like, I don't understand. He doesn't have a publicist, obviously, because they would take his phone away from him if they did.
Yeah.
But there was an even better tweet that I feel like I have to believe it's satire. I have to believe it's satire that was based off the Elon tweet that says, I don't know who this is. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, Luther Heggs Capital LLC. So that's the only reason I think it might be real, but I hope it's satire. It says a large 3D printer using AI can produce a replacement bridge in a day. Shipping it prefabricated by barge and lifting it into place would take another day. A GoFundMe campaign could raise the finances for it also in a day. So this should all take 2 days total at most and be free to taxpayers. Those are the facts.
I don't know. He like loves doing this kind of like, hey, I did the napkin math, and you know, based on my calculations, this can be done immediately.
But he also knows by now that he's not going to face any repercussions for just saying whatever. He just says shit, man. Like, then he gets a pat on the back from idiots, and then he can just.
Did you guys see that he has that Twitter or X or whatever is has been shedding daily users like crazy? Like it's like the worst it's ever been.
I've been shed for sure.
No.
I don't use it
Yeah.
anymore.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely go on there less just because it's like I genuinely can't take the right-wing bigots that are just like rampant on there, and always like the number one comment is like some racist shit or like coded racist or whatever. But it's interesting because I've asked a couple coworkers who are like, you know, they have like, they're on the normal side of Twitter, right? And they're like, I didn't notice any difference. And I was like, maybe I'm like just it's my personal
Your algorithm is fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, hey, we're getting close to the end of the episode. Something I did want to try to keep going, and I'm going to throw it to Matt for this, but the shit poster of the week, I think, is a great thing that we need in these times. And Matt had nominated somebody. Please tell us about who you think should be shit poster of the week.
All right, I want to say his full shit posting name correctly. So give me 1 second here.
It's in the show notes. It's at the top of it.
Okay.
The very first.
Okay. It's Cristo Dios del Frijoles, and this is
what does that mean? Chris, God of
he's the bean god. He called himself the bean god for a little while there. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christ. Yeah. So anyway, I've known him for a long time, like 6-7 years now, honestly, and he's just a funny fucking guy. He's hilarious. He loves to say fucked up shit, but he's always riding the line of acceptability and sometimes going over. But you know, he's good at that. You know, he's self-deprecating.
Going over a lot of times.
Yes, he does frequently go over the line for probably things he should say, but you know, his heart's in a good place, I think.
What would this post that Willow shared, and I think maybe even shared to the group chat? This grown-ass man accepting an apology.
that one, I burst out laughing when I read that. So I've met him 2 times, and he's just a fantastic guy. Just a really fun guy to hang out with, and super nice.
And just to give both sides of the coin here, another post that was very recent goes, you know, this is you saying this to him. What are you doing? And then he says, or he with the asterisk, pulls a dog's dick out of my mouth. You know, a dog's dick is actually way cleaner than a human's. The comments were not kind on this one. Everyone was fucking pissed off. But Jesus Christ, what a post! Oh, it gets me. Yeah, I don't feel good about it. But great job, Christo, for your posts. We appreciate you here on the show. Thanks for everything you do.
We got to get him on.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Or get him off even.
Get him off, get him on, get him off again.
I like that Matt posted during the episode, me jerking a Dune worm off like this. You're typing this. At what point were you typing that?
I thought of it when we were talking about it, and I just put it down as a note, and I was like, I'll just paste it now because I wanted to find a Christo post.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Jump into the bonus episodes on Patreon or on Spotify. And then, of course, our group and our Discord. You know, to be fair, they're pretty dead. So we need you to join because there's not anything going on in there. Or, you know, just listen to the show. That's fine. All right, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.